Hello? Hello?
Podcast Network Asia.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
I said, give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Zeta Zay.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks!
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Scotia. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the star, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
Hey, you are watching and listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C. Romoran and Chino Liao coming together on another audio and video live stream. We've got a huge weekend of wrestling that we have to talk about and predict. Like I put on social media, we're going to talk about Clash at the Castle. We'll talk about All Out. Yung NXT Worlds Collide, pag-uusapan din natin, but that will be reserved for the audio-only part of this episode, which you can catch on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts by tomorrow. Before we get started, thank you to everybody who's already here on the live stream. People on Facebook, people on Kumu. If you're catching the audio-only version the next day, thank you so much for making us a part of your weekly wrestling diet. We know that there are times that even if you're such a hardcore wrestling fan, there's just so much content to get through. And that's one of the reasons why we do what we do here, so we can break it down for everybody. Of course, we got to show love to our patrons. And right now, September 1, start of the month, it is actually the perfect time to be part of the Wrestling Podcast patron community.
Tomorrow is the perfect time to sign up for our Patreon because we have a big stacked weekend of pay-per-views and live events. We have Clash at the Castle on Sunday, Manila time, 1 a.m. We will be doing it live kasi wala namang pasok on Sunday. People have voted to watch it live after midnight. And then after that, on Monday morning, we will have AEW All Out 2022 at 8 a.m., the usual pay-per-view time. And if you want to be a part of that, again, all you got to do is subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/wrestling podcast. It is down there on the ticker at the bottom of your screen, only for $5 or 280 pesos in the ever so weakening dollar. You get access to our Discord community where we talk about wrestling, sports, TVs, Chino's OnlyFans recommendations.
Yun yung bagong addition. Sabi ko, dagdag natin sa ibang tier, pero wag daw muna. So, $5 lang.
Yeah, and also get access to our exclusive review content of our weekly television shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT 2.0, AEW Dynamite, Rampage, also live events, MWF Action Novela TV, which Rowan takes care of. And also our merch. I do have our merch slide up in here.
Yon.
So again, if you are a patron, you get dibs on one of these shirts, one of our very first line of merchandise. And also, if you get, you can also be a part of our pasabays from WWE Shop AEW, Pro Wrestling Tees when we do have them. Probably at around Black Friday, we will have one. So if you want to get merch from overseas, you know what to do. It is to sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/wrestling podcast, right there on the screen for only 280 pesos.
All right. I'm actually surprised that the patrons voted to catch Clash at the Castle live at 1 a.m. I would have thought that people would have wanted to sleep in and then, catch it in the morning or in the afternoon.
I did give them the choice, and it is a runaway pick na manood at 1 a.m. So I guess sulit na Sunday nila.
No, I mean, if you're a FIFA fan or Premier League fan, then sanay kayo din magpuyat eh. So probably,
I suppose.
Sanay sila magpuyat, diba?
Baka nga.
I guess, yeah. Sama-sama tayo. Magpapaka-Kuya Germs tayong lahat. Walang tulugan, Master Showman, for Clash at the Castle. Thank you, Wrestling Podcast patrons. May mga karamay ako. Aside from Carlo, of course. We'll be calling the show live on the WWE Network. So if you have a network subscription, do catch the Tagalog audio as well. All right, let's start with some news from outside the ring. And this is a follow-up to something that Ro discussed with Emil and Stevie on last week's live stream. And it's a follow-up on the apparent beef between Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara. And according to reports from this week, okay na, peace na raw sila.
Yeah, to be fair naman to Eddie, he did say that he was in the wrong. He did kind of admit to his foul, diba? Foul niya. So I guess they just wanted to squash the beef. They wanted to cut their losses and, stop themselves from making the other look bad. Because I think the more it goes on, the more they just both look bad, no matter who it is, no matter who was in the wrong. So buti naman may konti pang maturity sa AEW locker room.
Chino, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, the only way I can relate to this is from my time in Cebu when I had to study film there. And I went there. I was one of the youngest people there. And I had to relate to people who are not only different ages, but also different nationalities and therefore different temperaments. So, ganun talaga eh. Pag nasa fresh company ka, pag nasa startup ka, you have to adjust to that culture. So, I guess this is just part of the learning curve for AEW, which is technically a startup.
Yeah.
Can you still really call it a startup in year 3?
I think so, yes. Kasi not so much than it was in year 1 or year 0. Pero it's still playing catch up after all. It's still the little brother. So, okay lang naman to call it a startup.
Yeah, I'm just surprised na, for one, all of these details have been leaked to the media. They're basically available for anyone to find. How si Eddie Kingston, meron siyang press release on social media. Not sure about Sammy, but I also know, based on what's been tweeted out there, na nag-shake hands na sila and everything, which is way more than a lot of petty beefs have reached at all. So I guess that's a step in the right direction for them.
Yeah, you said it. Now, if they can only work on the other beefs, CM Punk says he is open to discussion. His door is open now, but I don't think. I think he's just saying that. But still, let's hope that they squash all of the beefs. I think there are a lot of beefs to be squashed in AEW, like we talked about last week. So sana ayusin na nila.
I mean, sa dami ng wrestlers nila, posibleng walang beefs.
Yeah.
Diba? So, I guess better personnel handling, better HR management, if there is such a thing in wrestling, would be necessary for this.
Yeah, that would be nice if every wrestling company had HR. I mean, sa laki ng AEW, I would like to think meron silang HR. I hope that the HR actually gets involved kasi the fact that people like us get to talk about all of this beef is not a good sign.
Okay, to add to that, I guess you didn't know, but they actually appointed Tony Schiavone as the new head of talent relations. So siya na yung gaganap na HR. And
siya na yung Johnny Ace nila.
Yeah, and he does have the experience of being part of WCW in its peak, diba? So that was a mess as well. So I hope that he does bring his fatherly wisdom and his experience to mediating all the beefs that are happening at backstage.
Sana. Hope that's a good thing. Let's get to this next news bit from outside the ring. We found out earlier this morning that there are reports about Bobby Fish and AEW possibly parting ways. So, ang binabalita ngayon sa social media is that AEW might not be renewing Bobby Fish's contract. Didn't he just join last year?
Yes, he just signed. He signed in October 2021, like right after he got released. Yung kasagsagan ng NXT 2.0. But I think he also didn't want to sign a long-term deal, so he wasn't that part of the UE. See Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, who signed 5-year deals with AEW. So I guess it might be mutual. He did say also that he wanted to go. He would go to war for Triple H, so it's possible that they could bring him back. So I don't mind him going back to WWE.
What do you think about the Undisputed Elite or like Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly without Bobby Fish? Given na 5 years na rin sila magkakasama, parang branding na nila yun, and then all of a sudden, ito na naman, maghihiwalay na naman sila, and this time it's Bobby Fish who's all on his own.
See, that's the thing. It's interesting you bring that up because I always saw Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly as single superstars, diba? And Bobby Fish, the linchpin that holds this trio together. Not that he's not a superstar in his own right, na mag-headline siya, but he also is just there as the role player, kumbaga. He fills that gap between the massive personalities of Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. So I don't know if without Bobby Fish, without a third man to be the sort of mediator of this trio kung magiging approachable, I guess for lack of a better word, patong UE. If this is like a thing that people can still watch without getting annoyed or masusuya sila.
It should be noted though that since he signed with AEW in October, he still has like around a month left. So they could still do Elite versus Undisputed Era. I don't know. I think hindi pa naman siya totally out the window here. Pero yun nga, I don't yeah, they are kind of a package deal. I do like people did like to see them together, especially without Roderick Strong. So I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna play it forward, but it does seem like they will have to make do.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of people here dito sa comments. Like si Francis, sabi niya sayang yung Red Dragon kasi hindi sila na-utilize na maayos. I'm a huge fan of Red Dragon, so we just got them back together and now we're gonna see them split up again. Ako hindi ako masaya doon. I would like to see Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly together as well, piggybacking off of what Emil said. Na Bobby Fish is a Derek Fisher to Cole and O'Reilly, Shaq, and Kobe. Yeah, sure. I guess I can hang with that. That's an okay comparison. I'm not sure though if Bobby Fish wants to be a coach at this point. Yes, he's 45 years old, but just because you're 45 doesn't mean matic coach ka na agad, diba?
You're gonna wrestling pay.
In wrestling though, it is kind of expected. Like he can still go, yes, for sure, at 45, but you do kind of have to sit back a little bit and help train the next generation.
Speaking of coaches, it was reported this week that Santana Garrett has rejoined WWE as a performance center coach. So that's another bit of news outside the ring that came out this past week. So yun, not really a whole lot of updates on that. Anyway, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll talk about Clash at the Castle. We'll go through the predictions. It's a relatively quick card, so that should be fun. And before we get there, though, let's tell you about how you can help out the podcast with your online shopping over on Lazada.
It is 9/9 next week. Next week, Friday, to be exact. So if you want to get anything that you want and need from Lazada, kasi hashtag nasa Lazada yan, all you got to do is use our affiliate link to support the podcast in the process. It is podlink.co/IAM. Podlink.co/the letters IAM. Type that in your mobile browser, add to cart, and check out from the app. And what you buy will help us do what we do here in the podcast at no extra cost.
And now a quick word from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. All right, let's get to some shout-outs over on Kumu.
Saying hey to He Was Number One. Really following along here with the conversation. He sent a super halo-halo. Maraming salamat for that.
Wow,
thank you. He says Tony Khan needs to put a tighter leash on the wrestlers. Yeah, I did go into that really in-depth last week. If on the pod, you can listen to it on Spotify if you haven't caught the live stream. I think you were there though, but hindi mo nata nabutan. And he also says it makes sense to have Tony Schiavone handle wrestler HR kasi nga he did go through WCW. And Bobby Fish can go back to WWE now because they can do an Undisputed Era reunion in NXT or the main roster since Triple H is handling the main roster now.
All right. Thank you to everybody who's been joining us on Kumu and on the Facebook live stream. So yeah, let's go to Cardiff, Wales for Clash at the Castle. Big picture muna tayo, guys. What expectations do you have heading into Cardiff this weekend?
I'm expecting a good show. Like, I think Triple H had a lot more time to build up to this than he did for SummerSlam. Kasi yung SummerSlam was, kaka take over lang ganun. And then now he had a full month to build to the stories at Clash at the Castle. So I think he did a good job of hyping everything. I am pleasantly excited and I am hopeful for a few big title changes.
I am expecting that this will be the WWE's flagship pay-per-view in the UK once again. Because they haven't had one in a while. They used to have one every so often para dun sa European market nila. And with the expansion of NXT Europe and everything that they're trying to do over that side of the pond, feel like it just makes sense to have something for European audiences to gravitate towards. So, sana ito yung first of many clashes at the castle from here on out.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last UK pay-per-view was Insurrection in the early 2000s. But Clash at the Castle is being billed as the first stadium show in 30 years, basically since SummerSlam 1992. So, big deal talaga tong show na to. I'm pretty excited for this, mostly because the show doesn't look nakakapagod. And that's a big deal for me at this point. So, let's get right to it. And we're going to talk about the match I'm most excited to get to this weekend, and that's the Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Sheamus. Tana ba? Is Sheamus going to be a Grand Slam champion after Clash at the Castle?
No, I don't think so. It's going to be a fun match. I'm going to enjoy watching this match, especially because they're going to get a lot of time. But I don't think this is it. You have to build the legend of Gunther, and a good match with Sheamus is just a milestone on the way there.
The same. I'm sticking with Gunther here, just because I don't know. I don't see Sheamus being the guy to walk away with the title just yet. I mean, maakas yung face-off nila with the brawl happening in the background. I really like that, but this one ain't it for me. So Gunther,
that was a really creative way to build tension between the two of them without necessarily getting physical. Kasi sanay na tayo, diba, na whenever these two title contenders go head-to-head, mag-aaway muna yan, and then someone's gonna stand tall over the other, which gives you an idea for who to predict heading into the PLE. But this time around, both guys were actually the ones holding back their respective heavies.
Tsaka, ang ganda nung use of depth of field, to borrow a film term here.
Sige, paki-explain. Ano yung depth of field, Chino?
It's the foreground being Gunther and Sheamus facing off, and the background being Butch and German son, forgot his name.
Ludwig Kaiser, sir.
There we go. Facing off. Diba sila actually nagsasapakan. So it mirrors the tension that Gunther and Sheamus are giving off, and it just provides so much depth for this match. Which would otherwise be a kickoff match kung hindi maayos yung pagkakahandle. So I really like the build-up of this match.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I guess heading into it, I was expecting Sheamus to win, but Ro's right. The legend of Gunther has to be built. And since si Triple H na rin naman yung nag-run ng creative, I think yung ginawa niya for Gunther in NXT UK, we can probably see something similar, maybe on a smaller, shorter scale here on the main roster.
Yeah, precisely.
What's up, boomers? This is Usapan Retro.
Hey, what's up? I'm Sonia.
Hey, my name's Ron.
Yo, we're boomers and we love to talk about video games and otaku culture, and we're from the Philippines.
Catch us live on the Kumu app every Saturday at 5 p.m. and the podcast every Monday at 8 a.m.
Catch you nerds there!
Gunther and Sheamus are giving off, and it just provides so much depth for this match, which would otherwise be a kickoff match kung hindi maayos yung pagkakahandle. So I really like the build-up of this match.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I guess heading into it, I was expecting Sheamus to win, but Ro's right. The legend of Gunther has to be built. And since si Triple H na rin naman yung nag-run ng creative, I think yung ginawa niya for Gunther in NXT UK, we can probably see something similar, maybe on a smaller, shorter scale here on the main roster.
Yeah, precisely.
All right, let's get to our next match on the card. I believe that is the SmackDown Women's Championship. Liv Morgan versus Shayna Baszler. So Liv's coming in here with the storyline na her elbow is still dinged up from SummerSlam after Ronda attacked her post-match. And Shayna Baszler seemingly has gotten yung killer instinct reawakened, diba, after the whole thing with Ronda Rousey went down a couple of SmackDowns ago. So Liv obviously coming in as an underdog, but is she still going to win here?
She has to. I mean, Shayna has to kasi they have pretty much gotten all they could get with the Liv title reign. Like, okay, I'm nice moment back in Money in the Bank, pero okay na ako. I think you do have to reform Shayna Baszler here and undo the damage that had been done under Vince. So if she loses here, then what else can you do? Diba? Parang ang OP na nga niya against Liv. So how can you lose against her, diba?
I'm actually gonna go for Liv here. Just because big picture wise, I don't know if they're willing to put Shayna up against Ronda Rousey. That's what I feel. Kasi pareho silang, lalabas na diba, pareho silang heel. And charisma-wise, lugi si Shayna kay Ronda Rousey. So, I don't know. I feel like Liv still walks away. They might do a triple threat match. There we go. Later down the road, there I feel like Liv Liv might walk away with a victory here. Kasi nga, they're really doubling down on the underdogness of Liv Morgan.
Sabi ni Glendale, Ronda Rousey interference. How likely are we to see Ronda here?
I don't think they're gonna fly in Ronda just for her to interfere. That might be too much of a stretch. I mean, pwede naman, pero ang daming mangyayari. Like, I mean, wala mangyayari much for her. Like, she's gonna go over there and then what? That's it. Is she gonna challenge for the? Is she gonna do a match? If not, diba? What's the use of her being there? You can just do that on a random SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to yung sinabi ni Chino na if Shayna wins and then Ronda's still waiting in the wings in the title picture, the heel versus heel nga. So what happens there?
The thing about Ronda kasi is that you don't actually know what she is like right now. Like, yes, she's being positioned as a heel, but then people are liking the fact that she's acting more heelish again and acting more badass. So parang di pa sila 100% sure kung ano yung totoong alignment ni Ronda. So I think they are leaving that up in the air. I think also, in a manner of speaking, Shayna is also up in the air. So although I do agree with saving that match for WrestleMania, I don't think it is as cut and dry as you think at the moment.
All right. So yeah, let me break the tie here. Shayna and Liv. I'm probably going to pick Shayna Baszler just because medyo okay na rin ako with the Liv Morgan title run. All right, next up, it's Seth freaking Rollins versus Matt Riddle. So Riddle got his first name back. Your thoughts, guys?
Yeah. All right. So people have been asking to talk about that segment from this week's episode of Raw. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, so yeah, let's break it down. There was a split screen interview hosted by Corey Graves. And then after the interview, nag-commercial break, and they showed footage from the break where Seth Rollins basically referred to Matt Riddle's divorce and how he allegedly left his family and all that. So Matt Riddle got mad, cut a few F-bombs on air, and it hiked up the intensity heading into this weekend.
So yeah, that was fun. People are saying that, okay, Riddle and Seth have issues in real life, but that was a long time ago. And then if you have to put them together right now and have them make a story, then they kind of have to squash that beef as well. So good use of using that, though, for extra drama and heightened intensity. I got to say, it's really interesting. People really like this, mostly because it's not anything new. Like, we see it everywhere else, but WWE, because Vince doesn't really let them do these kind of things. So that's a good example of how abused we all were as fans under Vince's regime. But anyway, as for the pick, I don't actually know because I'm not actually sure where they are headed after this. Like, I am totally fine with any of these guys winning. I don't really know then where any of these guys would go after they finish with this feud. I don't even know if it's going to be the end of this feud. So if I were to toss a coin up in the air and pick whoever I mean, let the coin decide for me. Yun na lang gagawin ko siguro. But if gun to my head, maybe Riddle, because I think he's proven that he has gone beyond his original characterization with this feud. Like, he's no longer a happy-go-lucky stoner guy, and he can prove that he can carry a serious character.
I like the build-up again. They're really putting weight on this rivalry that started out as pretty much nothing. So parang kala natin, nung una, nagsasawa na din ako because it's just a thing that's there, but they really just did a good job building it up, making it personal, adding fuel to the fire. Ang ganda din yung cutaways nila to the parking lot brawl that happened. Yung super extreme wide shot of them just facing on in a parking lot. Sana tong, I don't know if this is who will win, but sana ito din yung last time. Make it a decisive victory. for whoever wins, so that either person can move on to something else para hindi sila naiiwan sa feud. Again, I'm probably gonna say Riddle as well.
Yeah, parang Matt Riddle for the feel-good moment. But you're right, Ro. I also don't know where either of them are going to go afterward, because if Roman retains, Matt Riddle can't go after him. Kasi diba, he lost that match with the stipulation he can't challenge Roman again for as long as Roman is champion. And then Seth and Roman just faced each other nung Royal Rumble. I don't know if enough time has passed for us to get into Seth and Roman again.
Yeah, I think enough time has passed, but I don't know if they're going to do that, because Seth is just, that figure that just ends up helping a lot of people in the mid card. So medyo gatekeeper na rin siya at this point.
Yeah. There's that linchpin that if Roman retains, doon lang mangyayari yan. We don't even know if he's gonna retain.
All right, good point. So, sige, Riddle versus Seth. Let's put that behind us. Let's move on to the tag team match between Edge and Rey Mysterio and the Judgment Day. So, Edge and Rey reuniting for the first time in 2 decades on pay-per-view.
Yeah. Again, I don't like the Judgment Day, and I still don't like. I think Triple H hasn't still figured out what he wants to do with them. Parang hindi rin siya sure kung ano yung gusto niya or ano dapat yung mangyari with the Judgment Day. So, a lot of this is still angsty. Why are there still legends here? On the part of Finn and Priest and Rhea, diba? So they didn't give us the match that we really wanted, which was Rhea versus Dominic. So I don't really care all that much about this, even though Edge versus Priest was good. So let's just have the Judgment Day win so that sana mabigyan sila ng purpose.
Judgment Day wins, Dominic Mysterio turns on his dad.
Yeah, they've kind of been hinting at this, especially with Rey being more, parang mas kampante siya na si Edge yung tag team partner niya, diba? So the tension has been sown, and you think, Chino, neto na, the heel turn's happening here at Clash.
Yeah, because it's right there. It's right there. And it would be silly for them to plant those seeds and not do anything with it. Parang I feel like we are in a part of the WWE, or we're part of the era where they're actually purposely planting seeds and doing something with them. Diba? But the background things that happen that you tend to not notice actually paying off in the long run. So parang feeling ko, eto na yun eh. We've been asking it for the longest time. Nung nagsimula pa lang si Dominic, diba? We've been asking for him to turn on his dad. But I think this is it. This is the time that he does it. He joins the Judgment Day and something happens. I don't know.
Yeah. Sabi ni Aaron in the comments, Dominic Rhea Dom Sub partnership. Let's go.
Yeah. Sana si Dominic no ba siya in a gimp mask the next time. If this does happen, sana no ba siya in a gimp mask. That would be so fun.
I just want to say I appreciate Rhea Ripley acknowledging yung jokes on social media, saying na Dom is who you all wish you could be right now. Tapos yung picture yung tina-triangle choke ni si Dom with her legs. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, Rhea is pretty self-aware. That's what I like about her, kasi she doesn't pretend that she doesn't see all of these tweets and memes about her.
These thirst tweets.
Big apak energy for Dominic Mysterio if he turns heel. Let's go. All right, let's get to the 6-woman tag match. It is the babyface team of Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss taking on the heel team of Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. On screen, they haven't really been called Damage Control yet, but I'm seeing people online calling them that already.
Yeah, they have trademarked the name, so I think it's only a matter of time. Anyway, picks Damage Control because they lost the tag team championship match. So how do you proceed if you lose this big match as well, which is your coming out party on pay-per-view?
Yeah, same. Damage Control needs to win. Number one, because of all the reasons Rose said, but also because I feel like they want to make Bayley a credible threat to Bianca's reign. Diba? Siya yung pinaposition nilang bagong heel opponent. So I feel like Damage Control wins.
Are Sasha and Naomi coming out here at Cardiff?
I don't know. Again, like the Ronda thing, I don't know why you would fly them all the way to Cardiff, to the UK just for that. So I think if anything, or unless they're staying for Raw, I'm not sure if they're staying for Raw. If they are, then okay, so I would buy it. But if not, I would wait until they get back to the US.
Feeling ko Sasha and Naomi will go back on that women's tag team title hunt. Kasi medyo unfinished business pa yun. They were technically stripped of the title, di ba?
Yeah.
They had to relinquish it. So parang it makes more sense for them to make their comeback on the Raw, get that big post pay-per-view Raw pop, and suddenly, like, I don't know, challenge for the tag team titles.
Yeah, actually, it made sense to me na Raquel and Aaliyah won just because they're SmackDown superstars. Tapos pag bumalik sina Sasha and Naomi, they just go back to SmackDown where they were and automatically challenge for the titles. Then again, if Io and Dakota had won, which almost everybody had predicted heading into Raw this past week, then I would have thought matic na yun, at Clash magpaparamdam sina Sasha and Naomi. So before we get to Drew Roman, let's talk about Raquel and Aaliyah really quickly. What do you guys think about that result?
I know it was a feel-good moment, but it wasn't like, again, sometimes the predictable result is the result you need to go for, especially if you've been building that up. Like, yes, it was a swerve. It was a nice feel-good swerve if you're a fan of Raquel and if you are somehow a fan of Aaliyah, but they weren't the ones being built up. They weren't being built up more than Damage Control was. So parang nasayang bigla yung momentum nila that they've been getting since SummerSlam.
Yeah, I didn't really expect that victory. I don't know if Raquel has the strength to carry both Aaliyah and the tag team championship. Not to discredit Aaliyah, I'm sure she's very talented, but out of both of them, malalaman. I hate to say Janetti, but you know where I'm going with it. Right? Like, it's very apparent in that partnership. They really framed it out properly for us during this entire tag team tournament. So parang, I don't know, man. I don't know why this was the result, but maybe I might be proven wrong. I want to give them a shot, because I gave Raquel Rodriguez a shot in NXT, and I loved her run as on her way to becoming a champion. So maybe I might be wrong.
Medyo nagulat ako dito sa comment ni Kyle na napaaway siya sa Twitter because of that ending. Kasi daw binabash si Triple H because of the decision. So I'm guessing you were defending Triple H. So
yeah. Yeah, people didn't like that. Gets ka naman why, but you don't have to bash. I hate the word bash. You don't have to go all the way and bash. You can just criticize it as a poor decision, as a poor creative decision. I think people also tend to go overboard with their feelings on social media.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the main event for Clash at the Castle. Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Ito na ba? Is Drew going to be the one to slay Roman?
I think so. They have been building Drew pretty huge since before SummerSlam pa ata, and I think you can't do a pay-per-view in the UK without giving him a shot. So I think it's easy to say then. It's easy to say that it looks like it's going to finally happen, but I'm wary but also optimistic. I'm not going to pretend like I am one of those people who are tired of Roman Reigns' reign. Like, I enjoyed it when the stories were good, but I do think, it is time for something new. I think that with the new regime, especially if you're going to rebound from that main event on Raw, got to do something big and have a big title change at the pay-per-view.
Chino, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Drew walks away with it. I mean, I've talked about how they set the stage for big storyline payoffs. I feel like there's no bigger storyline than to unseat the tribal chief. It's perfect because Drew is from the United Kingdom, while it is in Wales and not Scotland. Drew is from the United Kingdom, and winning the big title and ending the reign of Roman Reigns, it's just too perfect not to do it, diba? Kasi parang nandito na tayo sa era of payoffs where fans actually get what they want. So this might actually be the time where Drew McIntyre walks away with the title.
Yeah, I generally agree with the things you said. And I think yung hindi pa natin nababanggit is how Drew McIntyre never really had his moment as champion in front of the fans. And I think Clash at the Castle is the perfect opportunity to, I guess, reward Drew for what he did during the Thunderdome era.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I think he does deserve it as well. People are saying that Theory's going to cash in. I don't think Theory's going to cash in. He is still busy starting a new feud with Johnny. And it's kind of weird if you do that and then also cash in. So it doesn't make creative sense at the moment. So I think I am pretty confident in saying that he's going to leave that match alone for now.
All right. So there, those are our thoughts and predictions for Clash at the Castle. Let us know what you think on social media. It is at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and on Twitter. The hits keep coming. We're going to keep predicting because we have to go to AEW now, where we have a supersized card for All Out. There are 14 matches. So wag na natin patagalin pa. Let's get into the pre-show. There are 3 pre-show matches. We're going to start with Tomohiro Ishii versus Eddie Kingston. I don't know how this happened, but we're here. So do you guys know how this happened?
Isn't this a rematch from like some New Japan thing? Right?
No, it's just a random match that Tony Khan threw on because Tony Khan thinks we need to see everything.
Wait, there's a part 2. Like, it's in the card.
So yeah, alam ko kasi galing ta dun sa I'm gonna butcher the name. Capital something.
Capital Collision.
Yeah, diba? And New Japan's Capital Collision.
Yeah, pero if you're asking how it came about, it didn't really come about on programming.
Okay.
It's a rematch, yes, but it's just something that they threw on there because apparently Ishii is still in the US and he's available. So Tony Khan thinks we need to see everything. Picks Kingston wins. It's AEW. It's his territory.
Tony Khan is like that New York booker who put me on a second time because I was still in New York. Diyan ka pa eh. Set ka na. So, like,
nabayaran ka ba, Chino?
Nabayaran naman ako. But I mean, I'm sure he's walking away with a good pocket change, diba? Powerful change. So, di naman din tayo magreklamo. I'm going to say Eddie Kingston wins as well.
All right, this should be fun. It's on YouTube, and the Mad King wins. All right, next up, AEW All Atlantic Championship, Pac versus Kip Sabian. Eto, they were kind of building towards this through, I think, other shows outside of the main AEW shows. And then it came to a head last week when the guy in the bag was revealed to be Kip Sabian all along.
Yeah. Again, things being thrown on. Pac had been defending the championship in the UK. I guess ito yung connection nila to Kip Sabian. So everyone deserves a payday on the pay-per-view day. There is no reason for Kip Sabian to win this, so Pac retains.
I'm trying to figure out where Kip Sabian goes if he does lose, though. Personally, medyo bago lang din yung debut niya. I felt like the debut has been a long time coming. I felt like people have known who the man in the paper bag was for the longest time. Diba? It's just telling us something that we already know. Although while I can't see Kip Sabian walking away with the title, I also can't imagine where he goes if he does lose. So I'm going to say Kip Sabian.
All right. Last match on the pre-show for now. Baka madagdagan pa heading into this weekend. FTW Championship between Hook and Cool Hand Angelo Parker. Ito, feeling ko sure naman Hook to.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick match. It's Hook. It's a Hook win.
Yeah, squash Hook.
Somebody was asking in the comments, if may ilalagay kang matches on Dynamite from this all-out card, what would it be?
All 3 of these matches.
No, this is like the pre-show. So I don't mind the pre-show being there because it is a warm-up. But from the main card, I mean, I'm guessing the main card is what they're asking about.
Yeah.
I would put the non-trios tag team trios tournament championships matches on Dynamite. I think there are 2 of them. We'll talk about them later. So there are like 3 trios matches on this card, and it is ridiculous.
Yeah. I'd probably pick those mostly because yung isa nandun si Jay Lethal. So, yeah. All right, let's go to the main card. There is a casino ladder match where a future opportunity at the AEW World Championship is up for grabs. And thus far, yung announced participants are Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Penta El Cero Miedo, Rey Fenix, Rush, Andrade El Idolo, and Dante Martin. Tsaka merong isang TBD. So, who's winning this one?
Ang sabi-sabi, actually what the people want is for TBD is to be MJF. So if it is MJF, and I think it is because there are rumors saying that he's going to be back soon, let's give it to MJF. Kasi, he needs to pick up his he needs to pick up his story again. I think that outside of Punk and Moxley, they do need a shot in the arm when it comes to the drama. So let it be MJF and let him have the title shot.
Same, I agree. TBD. First of all, regardless of who TBD was, dun pa rin ako kay TBD. Just for the lols. I know the last TBD was Matt Sydal, so it didn't really pay off. But this time around, I feel like MJF actually makes his comeback. And it's a good thing for AEW because yun nga, kailangan nila ng drama. Kailangan nila ng guy who attracts that heat right now.
Yep. So dami ng drama, nasa locker room.
No, I mean, outside of that.
Yes, locker room, but not on TV. Diba?
Yeah.
Diba? So that's where you need the drama to be. So that's why I feel like MJF might come in here, sneak a victory MJF style, and challenge for the AEW title moving forward. It's about
hindi ba umay if it's MJF and Mox again or MJF and Punk again?
I mean, MJF and Punk was good. I like that rivalry. Yeah. So I don't really see it being a problem if CM Punk does walk away with the title.
On that note, I do just kind of miss his unmodulated ass. You do kind of miss him after a while.
Yeah, I will admit, yeah.
Diba? Tsaka, all the big stuff is really just happening right now is really just CM Punk and John Moxley. So, and Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson. So they do need more heavy hitters to elevate the quality of the storytelling.
All right.
Hi mga macho at sexy chismosa. Ako nga pala si Makoy, ang inyong corporate slave.
At ako nga pala si Ingo, ang inyong corporate lackey.
Nabalitaan nyo na ba yung pinakabagong chismis? Nandito na kami ngayon sa Podcast Network Asia.
Oo nga, kaya samahan nyo kami sa longest running
ay yung pinakamahaba
comedy podcast sa buong Pilipinas.
Di ba longest yung pinakamahaba?
Oo, pare, tayo yung pinakamahaba. Ang Macho Chismisan.
Dahil ang tunay na macho,
chismoso.
Pag longest ba, tayo rin yung pinakamatigas?
Let's move on to the next match. World Trios Championship. It's the Elite versus TBD. So malalaman pa natin this weekend if it's Dark Order or Best Friends.
It's got to be Best Friends. They are the Orange Cassidy remains madly over. And Orange Cassidy, like we saw in the last pay-per-view, always deserves his pay-per-view spot. So it should be fun. But I think obviously this is the Elites to lose.
Even with Hangman joining the Dark Order?
So na ba yung pumalit?
Yes.
Like, is he officially on the team?
Yes.
Fuck, I did not catch that development. Okay, sige. Then it is so. It has to be Hangman then. Sorry. But it's still the Elites to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I want the Dark Order to proceed to the final. I'm gonna make a risky bet and say the Dark Order walks away with the title. Kasi
wow.
It's the Elites to lose, and I don't know how well they can actually perform. I mean, yes, that's an unwarranted statement, but I'm still gonna say the Dark Order walks away. A risky.
I don't know. Sobrang limado yung Elite against any of these teams, and I don't see a scenario where Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks aren't trios champions.
But the Hangman hero arc, it has something to be said. Is something to be said for. So may payoff pa rin siya kahit papano eh. Kahit sabihin mong bit lang ni Hangman yung dalawa.
Yeah. But it will be I mean, like I said, there's also the thing that the championships were literally made for the Elite, and they didn't pull the trigger if Kenny wasn't there. So parang if they don't win, then what is it all really for? Wala lang, just to give a shine to whoever whoever the real champions are going to be.
Yeah, fair I don't know. Yeah. It should be interesting with Hangman now in the mix. So if you didn't catch it, by the way, Preston Vance got injured, then Evil Uno got attacked by Andrade and Jose the assistant. So si Hangman nag-step up to partner with Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds. So there. Let's go to this next trios match, which is not for anything at all. It is just Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yeah.
It is a choice.
It is. Dayo yung MCMG eh. So it's nice. People love them, but Dayo sila, so they're gonna lose. So my pick is for the home guys to win the match, the champions to win the match.
I don't know. I kind of feel like our TNA originals might do something here.
Sure.
I mean, it's not within, but it's not without. It's not beyond the realm of possibilities here. Say, but then again, very sudden appearance ito MCMG. So
they haven't even appeared on the main shows, have they?
Yeah.
Not really.
It's so weird.
Just through vignettes.
Mm-hmm. I also don't see a scenario where the side that's stacked with championship gold loses to mga Dayos. Parang medyo weird siya kung nangyari yun. You know what I mean?
No, I'm gonna say the champions walk away as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Alan is right. I would have put this on, and they still have the Impact partnership, so I would have just put this on an Impact pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. So nararamdaman na natin yung pagod, guys. We're not even halfway through the card yet, but let's take a break. And we'll come back and finish up the second half of the this supersized AEW card after this. But first, here's how you can support the podcast through your online shopping over on Shopee.
Yeah, and it's going to be $9.9 as well on Shopee next week. All you got to do to support the podcast in the process of your online shopping is use our affiliate link, podlink.co/W9X, podlink.co/the W, the number 9, and the letter X. Type that in your mobile browser at the cart and check out from the app. What you buy will also help us do what we do here in the podcast at no extra cost.
And now a quick word from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. Let's get some shout-outs over on Kumu.
Say hey again to He Was Number One. He's really following along on Kumu. So thank you for commenting your thoughts. So he has a lot of thoughts on the pay-per-view card predictions so far. So read his last message about the match that we just talked about. Yeah. MCMG pins FTR and then FTR versus MCMG sa Bound for Glory. So if that happens, that will be an interesting thing for AEW to do. They haven't really made creative decisions on their programming that leads to something else that leads to a match on a different company's show. So I don't think they've ever done that yet directly. So it would be interesting. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be interesting if it did.
Yeah. Si Giancarlo sabi niya in the comments na yung FTR daw should have their own match on All Out. Have you seen the card, Gian? Have you seen this card?
Yeah,
Do you want more?
It's insane.
Okay. Let's go to this next one. Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. They should be fun. Kahit na yun nga, sobrang bloated na.
This should be on Dynamite. I'm sorry. I feel like it would have been better serviced on Dynamite.
No, to be fair to Ricky and the Hobbs, they did their thing. They did their story way before any of these other matches were on the show. Like were on the card. So if anything, if it was a first come first serve thing, they definitely deserve to be on the pay-per-view card. Especially with how they've been telling their story. Sayang lang na overshadow lang na ibang na ibang bigger matches. But for the pick though, Ricky has to win. I don't see this feud extending for more than it has to. I love Hobbs as well, but Ricky proved his spot, proved his worth with the promo he cut last week. And I think he is in line for whatever push that they can give him in this super bloated environment.
Ricky's a convincing face.
Yeah. Ako kasi I feel like while yes, nauna sila sa linya, the shine they bring to this feud isn't as big as, say, even the trios tournament, diba? Or whatever other feuds you have on the card. So parang if you lump them into this already stacked pay-per-view card, 2 hours in, what will happen? People won't really care as much for Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. That's the only reason I feel like if they really want to make this feud matter, keep it on TV. It makes sense there that on this very stacked card. That said, I also picked Ricky Starks.
I don't know, Chino. I mean, the Gun Club and the Acclaimed had so much TV time, and I didn't think that feud mattered.
Yeah. Pero gets kayo sinasabi ni Chino. Like, if I were on this bloated ass card as well, I would be slightly pissed off because I would have to wait so long for my turn. And to find that a lot of other matches would stick more with the crowd. Parang it's gonna be tough for them to stand out, and I would be pissed as well. But hey, it's a pay-per-view payday as well. So if only for the money, then okay lang din.
All right. Unanimous tayo, Ricky Starks tayo for this match. Let's go to the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaimed.
Yeah, this is super random. They just handed the Acclaimed a random tag title shot out of the blue. Kasi
because everybody loves the Acclaimed.
No. Because Swerve and Our Glory was feeling generous. Wala silang contender, so this is what they decided to come up with. It's gonna be a nice defense for Swerve and Our Glory, unless they finally do that turn that they've been teasing and somehow reward the Acclaim for being so over with the fans.
That is a possibility, diba? Kasi they have been teasing that Swerve heel turn here. I don't know if AEW needs yet another mid-card feud.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it was... You just talked about this with Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, diba? Do we really need another feud that will yet again be overshadowed by something else?
Oh, well. Yeah.
Diba? I mean, I know we're probably not going to get it, but I want to say, because I am still hopeful na kahit paano, Swerve in our Glory retains.
All right. Let's go to a couple of singles matches here. Starting off with this one, it is Jungle Boy and Christian Cage.
Ito deserve tong spot nila.
Yeah.
It's a hot feud, although it's been cooled down just a little bit over the past 2 weeks or so. I still wanted to see where this one goes because it was a good story told. Yun nga lang, there are other similar stories as well on the show. But hey, it's Christian and it's Jungle Boy. I kind of want Christian to win here because I do want to see this feud extend. I feel like there is something to be said for making Jungle Boy work really hard for his big moment. So even though this could be it, I do feel that Christian needs a win as well because it's been so long since they really featured him in an active player spot. So I do want to see them reestablish his credibility.
Yeah, this could possibly be a star-making match for Jungle Boy, considering that he's facing a legend here in Christian Cage, diba? So may potential talaga to make Jungle Boy a bigger star than he already is. That said, I'm also going to pick Christian Cage because while, yes, madami ng kaparehong storyline to, it's still, nauna pa rin sila dun sa kwento na yun kahit paano. So I'm still very much invested in this payoff.
Mm-hmm. Aaron and Giancarlo are calling for a Luchasaurus heel turn. Why? We've had this like 3 times in 4 weeks.
Yeah. I think they also made it clear that Luchasaurus is firmly on Jungle Boy's side. Like, if it was a heel turn that was going to stick, they wouldn't have turned him back after the whole Christian thing. So I don't think you're going to get that. Sorry.
No, tama na. But I do want to see this feud go on after All Out. Like, I think there's still something to squeeze here, if you will.
May legs siya.
Another singles match I'm looking forward to. Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. Ito, dream match ito. So who do you think is winning this one?
Wait lang, didn't they face each other in the WWE? Diba?
Yeah, they did. A couple of times. First was... He was Jericho's first... he was Danielson's first NXT match back in 2010. And I think they had a pay-per-view together for the World Championship, I believe, or something. But yes, it has been a while since we last saw them face each other. So medyo fresh to. I think This could go a lot of different ways because Daniel Garcia is the absolute wild card here.
Custody of Daniel Garcia match.
This is a custody of Daniel Garcia. And I want to say Danielson wins kasi Garcia turns on Jericho. But it's also very much likely that Jericho wins kasi Garcia turns on Danielson.
I want to see Daniel Garcia move over to the Blackpool Combat Club. Feeling ko magandang wrinkle yon sa kwento ni Daniel Garcia. So I'm gonna say Bryan Danielson wins.
Yeah, I'm just here for the drama. I mean, we're going to get a great match right off the bat, but the drama of having Daniel Garcia be the X factor here, I think that's something to behold. So really excited for this one. It could really go either way. Okay, let's get to the first of two women's matches here. The TBS Championship between Jade Cargill and Athena. Kailan ito naging official?
On Rampage. Also, okay. I would have also put this on Dynamite. But anyway, yes, Jade wins. They haven't really built up Athena as a serious threat. Sayang kasi magaling naman siya. But again, not as much time being given to these things. So I think it's just going to be another resume padding win for Jade.
14 matches, dalawa lang yung women's matches, all I'm going to say. Yep. 14. So I'm going to say Jade Cargill walks away.
All right. Next up, another trios match, which I think we all agree should have been left to Dynamite. House of Black taking on Darby, Miro, and Sting. People are speculating, though, that CJ Perry, FKA Lana, might appear here.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know about those speculations. But okay, sure. If only to counter Julia Hart, diba? Sige. Okay, maybe that's why they put it on pay-per-view. But still, doesn't mean it's pay-per-view worthy. It's hard to pick because you know that they love giving Darby and Sting a win. So, sige, in the interest of thinking like Tony Khan and playing his favorites, it's probably going to be the face team.
Darby wins, lol.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say Darby. Especially if CJ Perry does debut, like interference or whatever, it makes more sense for them to win because that moment's already there. So I'm going to say face win as well for Miro, Darby, and Lolo Sting.
May injury update ba on Malachi Black? Because there is speculation na injured siya, diba?
Yeah, he has kind of confirmed it in a really vague, cryptic way. So that might be why he hasn't wrestled as much. So that's why Brody King has been wrestling for him. Buddy Matthews has been wrestling for him. So if he's injured, then also a good reason for them to lose, I guess. So there's that.
All right. Let's get to the second women's match. It's the interim AEW Women's World Championship. Toni Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida.
Yeah. Tony's to lose, although the temptation I know is very strong to put it back on Britt. Tony Khan loves Britt. The AEW fans love Britt. I am so over Britt at the moment because she's okay. But for me, I'm picking Tony. It's Tony or bust because Tony was supposed to be the winner between her and Thunder Rosa. So why would you change that if you have something nice on your plans?
Yeah, me and my $15 a month say Tony Storm. Gets yung reference na yun. Good for you. Tony Storm.
Ako yung lilihis dito, and I think it's Dr. Britt Baker. I don't know why. I think siya pa rin yung money star eh. I mean, I love Toni Storm, but I don't think she's the anchor of the women's division the way Britt Baker is.
Yeah, but that's because they haven't really given her the chance to be the anchor of the women's division. Like, to be fair to Tony Khan, like, I know he hasn't been featuring the women much, but he does try to rotate through everyone, try to give them a chance as much as possible. So I think since he did kind of invest on Tony, I think he would be giving her a chance this time. Kahit saglit lang, even if it's only for a short while before you bring it back to Britt.
We're not really mentioning Hikaru Shida and Jamie Hayter here. And is there a reason for that? Like, saling pusa lang ba talaga sila dito in this fatal four-way?
Yeah, put more women on the card. Sige, sure. They're there to make the match better. Pero the realistic pick talaga is Tony and Britt.
Ikaw, Chino.
Yeah, no, I agree. She just had her shot. Although they've been building her up again especially during
a little bit, yeah.
diba? A little bit, especially during Elevation against Emi Sakura.
Yeah.
So at least, diba? At least yun meron. Si Jamie Hayter, I feel like she's just been there. So I don't really see her winning it. If she does walk away, it won't make any sense. Pero good for her kung manalo siya, diba?
I mean, I was just waiting for Jamie to turn on Britt, and I would have watched this feud over, I don't know, any of the other men's feuds that they've got on the card.
Baka ito na yun. Baka ito na yung moment where Jamie finally comes to blows with Britt, diba? So kasi they're in the ring together, it's every woman for herself, and you can't avoid getting in each other's way here. So I think this might be the catalyst for that.
I hope so, for our sanity, and I guess for the depth of the women division in AEW. All right, let's finish it off here with the main event, AEW World Championship match between Jon Moxley and CM Punk. Mox is the undisputed champion. They had a match last week. It was a squash. And then this week, they were able to build everything back up through a series of promos in one show.
Yeah, we actually finally made it to the main event. Can you believe that?
What do you guys think about the way that they brought out itong si Ace Steel? I didn't know who this guy was until today. And then, lo and behold, he's CM Punk's coach pala, goes out and grabs the contract and then breathes life back into CM Punk after Punk was all, oh, dejected, woe is me.
Unfortunately, kasi ikaw lang hindi nakakilala kay Ace Steel. So if you are familiar with Punk, sorry, no, it's the truth. If you're any bit familiar with Punk's story and his rise, you would know who Ace Steel is. And they did do a good job of explaining it as well. So it made sense to me. Like, okay, it's in Chicago. Ace Steel was there to be his confidant. And it is more of a nod to fans who are in the know from the mid to late 2000s, but it is what it is. And it wasn't a misplaced wink, wink, nudge, nudge reference there. But anyway, okay lang din. It's been only 3 weeks, but they did tell a nice, interesting story. It really helps that Punk and Mox are both very good on the mic, and they are both very good in tapping into that really raw and visceral emotion that can elevate a story. So, I'm totally okay with how this went down. I'm okay with their audible from last week with the CM Punk squash. For the pick, though, people have been angling that this is Punk's moment to win it back. Mox won last week, so he can have his own moment as well. So, unfortunately, even though I don't like it as much anymore, the Punk train is still pretty strong. It's still going pretty hard. And in Chicago, it's kind of hard to bet against a Punk loss.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to say CM Punk as well. Although, a question comes to mind, is that if MJF does win that Casino Battle Royal chip thing, parang money in the bank ba yun or hindi? Hindi, diba?
No. It's just a future title shot.
Okay.
No, it's not even a future cash it in anytime. I know they set it to like the next defense that the champion has.
Right. Okay.
So talagang pilit yung title match.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I will say CM Punk walks away kasi number 1 Chicago. Number 2, he was painted as the underdog
Today.
ever since he lost, diba?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, yeah.
Today,
Tama.
Yeah, diba? Ever since that squash. So I'm gonna say CM Punk.
See, Alan sabi niya in the comments, am I the only one who's not interested in this match?
Alan. Probably. Kasi I think Kyle here in the comments also is not as interested. Pero again, like I said last week, I enjoy squashes. I enjoy the spectacle of squashes. They make sense to me because I believe that not every match has to be a 15 to 20 minute circle jerk. So it didn't kill anything. In fact, it made me happy for Mox. So again, it goes back to how well they can manipulate the emotion with their promos. So I think they did do a good job there. And if you don't like the squash, then I guess you're entitled to do that, to feel that way. But I think judging by the crowd reaction all around from this show especially. I think a lot of people are still interested in it. So yeah.
I think malaking bagay na they were in Chicago for Dynamite, they'll be in Chicago for Rampage, and they're in Chicago for All Out.
Yeah, yun din. But Punk, again, like I said, the Punk train's still going hard, still going strong. So the whole Hangman Page, Colt Cabana, brouhaha didn't really ding his reputation all that much. Like, if you really didn't like Punk for being petty, then it only just solidified it. But if you do like him still, then I don't think that would have changed a lot.
Is anybody changing alignments here?
No, I don't think so. Parang well-established naman both guys, especially Mox, on who he wants to be. Like, he's not like a goody two-shoes babyface. Like, he is a face with an edge, so bordering on tweener na yun, and I think that's not going to change if he loses. I think he's just going to be a little more grumpier, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a heel or anything. I think Punk just went back to being his straight edge, mid 2000s indie wrestler character. So I think there's that. I don't think he's completely all the way heel as well, even though people have been wanting that for him.
All right. So there. Those are our predictions. That's All Out.
Are you a big sports fan? If so, make sure to listen to Off the Record with me, Migs Bustos. Together we'll get up close and personal with the biggest names in the sports industry. Check it out after listening to this episode. Off the Record is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other major podcast platforms thanks to Podcast Network Asia. Catch you guys on my show.
Very long card. Good luck na lang sa lahat ng mga manonood on Monday.
Predictions
if you're gonna watch live.
Guys, pagod na tayo. Predictions pa lang yun.
Actually, tama si Chino. Magre-record pa kami ng NXT after nito. So, good luck na lang sa mga manonood ng live. If you're gonna be catching it on demand, more power to you. I think that is the smarter way to do that, just because there's so much that's gonna happen on Monday with NXT and with AEW. Just the same, let us know what you think here in the comments. You can also keep it on our. You can also send it our way on TikTok and on Twitter at Wrestling2XPod. Let's get to our picks of the week before we wrap things up here. I'm gonna start with mine, and itong next 2 weeks, basically puro NXT UK yung pipiliin ko because it's the last 2 weeks of NXT UK. So if you have time, go catch the main event from last week's episode. That was a Heritage Cup Championship match between Mark Coffey and Noam Dar. It explains why Mark Coffey showed up the way that he did on NXT 2.0, but it's still a good match. And it was a good way, I guess, of tying up the story of the Heritage Cup Championship, even though based on the episode, halatang hindi pa talaga dapat yun tapos. But, I love the Heritage Cup rules matches. It's always been fun to me, and it's something I'm really gonna miss once NXT UK officially retires.
Right.
Rosie.
Okay. My pick of the week is from Dark Elevation this week. It is Hikaru Shida versus Emi Sakura, Tita Emi, for the Regina de Wave Championship. It is a championship from Japan, from the Wave promotion. It is a Joshi promotion. And then they held the title match on Dark, which should have been on Rampage at the very least, because it was to build up one of the contenders for the Women's Championship, the AEW Women's Championship. So really good stuff. It's only 9 minutes, but they go hard. They go, pun not intended, all out. And it reminds you of why Kenny Omega brought these two women over from Japan. So go watch it. It's free on YouTube. Go see it. It's to the very end. It's not a long watch.
My pick of the week goes out to something I read last week dahil naka-isolate ako. I'm only getting to share it now. It's the comic book version of Eddie Kingston's Players Tribune article.
Wow. May ganun pala.
So, meron. I stumbled upon it on Players Tribune. We're going to share the link on our Twitter. And it's actually, it condenses everything Eddie Kingston has poured out in his Players Tribune article. And if you're a comic book fan like Eddie Kingston is, ma-appreciate yung journey na kwento niya dun sa article na yun. So, it's a pretty quick read. 10 pages lang siya for a comic book.
All right, good stuff. Gian, no, we're not going to review every match from all of the pay-per-views this week. We can't do that. We're just going to pick highlights for next week sa live stream. All right? Picks of the week from the comment section. Emil picks United Empire versus the Elite from today's Dynamite. Julian picks Riddle and Rollins, and all the cameos from NXT 2.0. Kyle picks the Edge and Kurt Angle segment, which mirrored 20 years ago, and the Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins promo. Albert picks Ricochet appearing on NXT. Roman J picks the really good A&E Rey Mysterio documentary. I really enjoy that as well. Really goes in depth into his whole family and their history with Lucha Libre as well. Gian picks Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens. Glendale picks the Drew McIntyre promo, among many other things. C. Janelle picks the segment between Sammy and the Bloodline, Edge and Kurt Angle, and the NXT vets. Alan picks the main event from Dynamite earlier, pati si Dexter Loomis. Julian, he put that na kanina. Aaron picks Rey Mysterio and Family versus Miz and Family on Family Feud. Uy, buti napanood mo yun. I only saw that on social. As well as the NXT legends showing up. Ano pa ba? Si Angelo, Admin Angelo picks Sammy and the Bloodline, their backstage segments. Neil Patrick picks the Axiom backstage segment with Nathan Fraser, which is really, really good. A nice wink and a nod to his NXT UK history. So if that flew over your head, it's very much rooted in NXT UK. Sa Kumuro, meron bang picks of the week?
Wala. Wala. Sorry. That's all good.
All right. No worries. There. Thank you everybody for sending in your picks of the week. Chino, I know you took a break from comedy this past week, so is there anything else going on in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, no, meron naman. I have taken a break after I did my first hour. Thank you to everybody who came and supported. If you weren't able to make it, that's okay. I will be releasing the full hour in all its edited glory on YouTube as a YouTube special. So hintayin niyan, it'll be on my YouTube page. For all of the things that I do, if you want to support me and what I do, linktr.ee/Chino Supersize.
Congrats, Chino, by the way. Congrats on the 1 hour special.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Ro, you have a new article diba, on protein shake mistakes?
Oh, I mean, I've been writing on multisport.ph, so mostly about fitness tips. So things I wish I learned back when I started out. So if you're starting out on your own fitness journey, just go read my stuff on multisport.ph. But also, mostly, if you want to support local wrestling, I know there's a lot of wrestling to support and watch. You can go support MWF Action Novela TV by subscribing to Gank, to MWF on Gank. Just go to manilawrestling.com and it will take you there as well. And on September 11, which is 2 weekends from now, we will be having MWF Road to Fate 2022. A lot of big matches, including the 4-way match for the MWF Championship. Fabio Mahisig, Nigel San Jose, Crystal, and Jake De Leon, all competing for the vacant MWF Championship, among other big matches on the card. Tickets are still available at tickettome.net. You can still get your seat at the PETA Theater in Quezon City. I know it's a really good venue. So if you want to watch live wrestling, if you are free to watch live wrestling on that date, go buy your tickets now. And also follow us on TikTok at Wrestling2XPod.
A couple of plugs on my end, of course. Go catch Clash at the Castle in Tagalog on the WWE Network this weekend. No, wala pang NXT in Tagalog, Admin Angelo, but we're hoping that one day we could finally make it as part of our job description as well. I also did an episode of Pod Friends from the Rob as a Podcast Network, where I got to talk about my story outside of podcasting and wrestling. So go check that out. It's on my social media. And I'm back on radio. Surprise, surprise. I made my official debut for 99.5 Play FM today. So I'm doing the 7 to 10 a.m. slot as of today. And ayun, that's something that I've been meaning to tell everybody. Shout out to our good friend Makoy Pare. Nagpaparamdam sa comment section as the Wrestling Podcast winds down.
Monster Big Show was in the comment.
He was.
That's right. Si Boss Ron nandito rin. So thank you to our fellow kapodcasts for joining us here. Thank you everybody for joining us.
Yeah, thank you to everybody congratulating me for the special. Makoy, mag-congratulate ka naman sa akin. Thank you.
Sobrang gamas na congrats eh. Ina, one day baka magkatagalog din for AEW. If you guys clamor for it enough, maybe it'll happen, right? We'll catch you again next week for another live stream. Highlights from this packed weekend. Promise yan. Maybe an audio only as well. In the meantime, follow us individually at Roes War, at Chino Supersized. Yung Dabarkads nyo, si at Monday Night Rowan. Magparamdam kayo, okay? And for me, at _Stan C. We got to get out of here. Catch the audio-only version coming out tomorrow. Thank you to our friends over at PNA for all the work they do behind the scenes. Keep your masks on. Get your vaccines and boosters if and when you can. On behalf of Romoran and Chino Liao, my name is Stan C. Wrestling Podcast out. Bye-bye.
Peace.
If you made it this far, this is the audio-only version of the live stream for this week. Sabi nga natin, ang dami pag-usapan, so we gotta include NXT Worlds Collide. And this was a show that wasn't on our radars like 3 weeks ago. They just announced it last week, and then now, go home na. So what did you guys think about the build heading into Worlds Collide?
I talked about it last week. I did say that it was pretty obvious that they rushed it somehow because they wanted to close down NXT UK. But when you think about it, NXT Europe is coming in 2023. So that's like entire quarter and more at least, diba? For them to prepare. So I don't understand bakit sila nagmamadali sila. Ba't sila nagmamadali ngayon? Ba't sila nagkakandara pa ngayon para i-wrap up yung NXT UK when they could have just let the NXT UK episode, the last NXT UK episodes air and then tie that all in on NXT stateside after the tournament is done and all of that, diba? So that's super weird to me.
Baka gusto nila naka-anchor sa Clash kasi nasa UK na rin yun.
But they're not in the UK though. I mean, like the Worlds Collide show is not happening in the UK. It's gonna be
it's not.
It's a performance center, diba? So I don't understand bakit nila minamadali. But I will say this. I did like what they did to make the show mean something. So we'll talk about that in the coming or right now. But I like what they did, and they pulled it. I got to give it to them. They pulled it out of their hat and made it feel special.
Yeah, it does feel special with all the cameos and all the main roster guys challenging for NXT title. It parang dumadating na tayo ulit sa point na Survivor Series from a few years ago had that same special feel when that NXT invasion happened. So while that was a little bit more planned out, this time around, feeling ko mas may meaning na tong Worlds Collide, especially because they're closing down NXT UK and because they're building up NXT Europe. So we're going to get all the titles combined here, and we're also going to get a lot more meaning put behind all the European talent that they have to show.
Yeah, parang may Crisis on Infinite Earths feel kasi all of the championships are being unified, right? But to piggyback off something you said kanina, Ro, na-appreciate ko yung importance na binigay sa NXT branding by having all of these alumni come back. Gunther talking to Tyler Bate and saying na alam mo yung halaga ng title na yan, alam mo yung legacy ko, yung legacy mo, having Butch call in via iPad, diba? Shayna Baszler, inaangasan niya si Mandy Rose. Sino pa ba? Ciampa giving Braun Breaker a pep talk, even though the Ciampa we saw on TV is different now. Rhea Ripley, diba? Inaangasan niya si Blair Davenport.
Yeah.
Right? Alba Fire talking to Meiko Satomura, acknowledging their rivalry in NXT UK. I really appreciated all of that kasi for a while, NXT histories were not really being acknowledged on the main roster. So it felt like this was the current WWE management's way of compensating or making up for all of that history that was lost in the shuffle over the last few years.
I just want to say, you said na parang may Crisis of Infinite Earths feel. And that's exactly right. They called back, parang nasa MCU tayo, although that's a DC reference.
Yeah.
Parang nasa MCU tayo na may call back to other movies. Diba? Na where you're at the point na you're attracting newer watchers to the product and telling them that, hey, these people that you think you're just seeing now, they actually did something in NXT. So you might want to go check that out. So, ang galing lang din ng pagkahantay-in nila ng mga kwento, pagtatahi-tahi nila ng storylines. I really appreciated that.
Did they ever acknowledge on screen that NXT UK was closing shop And this is why we needed to unify the championship. They didn't, but they just said they just had the UK champs come over and suddenly declare their superiority and then challenge to a unification match. So that's what happened. Diba?
As far as I remember, parang walang explicit acknowledgement na magsasara yung NXT UK.
Yeah, so that's super weird. But I guess, like we all said, they made it work. I really liked how the champions making the trip to Orlando really made the championships and the stakes of the unification matches feel special. So does it also imply na kunyari Tyler Bate versus Braun Breaker? If Tyler wins, the NXT championship will be subsumed under the NXT UK championship. So is that? I think that's what they were trying to get to,
right?
I think the NXT UK championships all get retired, and like regardless of who wins, they take on whatever NXT 2.0 championship they win.
Yeah, kasi so if that's the case, then why does Gunther have to say, okay, panalo ka kasi pag hindi ka nanalo, mawawala yung UK championship?
Kasi si Tyler Bate yung representative ng UK.
All right, so sige, so he carries the weight of European wrestling on his shoulder. Okay, sure. That makes sense.
Yun yung pagkakaintindi ko. So I could be wrong. If you're listening and you understood it differently, you can let us know. But that's how I understood it.
Yeah.
If anything, nagustuhan ko yung like the heels coming in and low-key threatening the champions like si Ciampa with Braun or Gunther with Tyler Bate na parang puta, pag natalo ka, patay ka sa akin. Alam mo yun? So that was a nice little wrinkle.
Maganda din yung heel interaction ni Mandy Rose and ni Shayna.
Yeah.
Diba? Like it's very psychological. Yung iba kasi pwede din sindakin, diba? Kasi heel to face. But this one, dahil pareho sila ng alignment, Shayna had to approach it from a more psychological standpoint. Sabi niya kay Mandy Rose na, hey, listen, if you don't win, all the things he said in the past year are going to be for nothing. So, nag-appeal to ego si Shayna doon and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, that's a great take, Chino. I never thought about it until you brought it up just now. So that was good. So, as usual with all these NXT specials, 5 matches, very tight, very good, just the way I love it. So, let's start off with the first one, NXT North American Championship. A wild Ricochet appeared and challenged Carmelo Hayes at literally the 11th hour.
Yeah, I appreciate it though, because I do like it when the main roster guys come down and make the NXT championships feel a little more special. Although I don't understand why it couldn't have just been Apollo Crews, diba? So that was weird to me. But I don't think Ricochet is going to win here, although he kind of has to because he's the main roster guy. So I don't know how this is going to go. This is kind of up in the air for me. My default pick is Carmelo, though.
I mean, Melo has had that title for a long while now. So, he
just won it back, dude, just a month ago or a couple of months ago.
Okay, wait, mali pala iniisip ko. So, yeah, no, I'm going to say Melo as well.
Feeling ko Melo because, Ricochet is Ricochet. It's not like he lose anything by losing in NXT. And I think having a win over Ricochet could further elevate Melo.
Yeah. Yun lang, kasi may implication din yun na, okay, graduate ka na, talo ka pa sa estudyante, di ba?
Si Dolph Ziggler din naman
I guess, yeah, that's true. But Dolph did win first before he lost. So there's that, di ba? So is it also likely that Ricochet wins as well before he loses? So I don't know. But I would pick Melo just because it's Melo, it's his turf. Parang I wouldn't waste this big pay-per-view spot on a Melo loss.
Yeah. If anything, I just want to know where Melo goes from here because if he didn't have Trick Williams by his side, I think I would say he was main roster ready.
Yeah, yun din. Although he has been ready for a while now.
I mean, Trick isn't. That's what I'm saying. Now, you have to bring them up as a pair, and Trick clearly isn't main roster ready yet.
Okay. Sige, sure.
Next up, it is a mouthful to. Fatal 4-way tag team elimination unification match for the NXT and NXT UK tag team championships. It's like Jensen and Briggs versus Gallus versus Pretty Deadly.
Eto, nasad ako na walang former tag team champions na dumalaw, di ba? Like, I would have appreciated it.
I mean, the former tag team champions were already part of the feud, so...
No, I mean, for the alumni, the NXT alumni. Diba? Sayang lang. Anyway, this is tough, but I would give it to the Creeds because they're so good. Like, they're super good.
Yeah, but isn't it time for a Creed title run as well?
I mean, they're already champion.
title run.
Pala, no?
Pero I wouldn't get them to lose unless this is gonna further their story with Roderick Strong. So if that's the case, then it's either Creeds or Gallus for me.
It's interesting na you bring up Roderick Strong kasi last NXT, di ba parang nagwawala siya? Na like a thing that happened. Yeah. So I'm just for that alone, I don't think the Creeds walk away with the title.
That's fair.
I think one of the UK guys walks away with the title. I'm gonna say Gallus.
Gallus din ako eh.
Gallus din ako for some reason.
Because Gallus came in really hot. And they came in destroying Diamond Mine and even NXT UK, diba? They were a big deal. And sila yung parang medyo consistent pa rin yung pagkakabuild sa kanila. Like, frankly, I'm surprised they were kept intact and that they were brought to NXT 2.0 as they are, with their names being unchanged and everything. And I think that says a lot about how Gallus is going to be presented going forward. And it would really mean a lot if Mark Coffey and Wolfgang would have the NXT Tag Team Championships moving forward.
Yep.
Let's go to the women's side here. NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. It is the KCs, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, taking on Doudrop and Nikki ASH. And I want to note on the podcast that Nikki ASH will make history here for being the first woman to challenge for all the active women's championships in the WWE.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I kind of want, for that alone, I kind of want Doudrop and Nikki to win. Kasi parang napaka-lame duck nila as a tag team on the main roster.
But they're just fighting over the weekend.
Yeah, I kind of want them to have something nice for once. Like, I want them to establish themselves further. I think they need a win. I also do think that they need a quick visit to NXT the same way Dolph Ziggler did, so I'm totally okay with this. The KCs are good, but I think they could do without the championships for now.
Did this feud just happen, or maybe
it really just happened.
While Doudrop and Nikki appeared.
Yeah, right. So I for that alone, I'm gonna say it stays with the KC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yes, dapat nasa NXT sila, or rather, it would benefit them to stay on NXT. I don't think that will happen, especially at the cost of the KCs, who are still pretty hot. So I'm gonna say the KCs retain.
Yeah, I'm going to be happy either way that this match goes. So, okay lang. Next up, triple threat match to unify the NXT Women's and NXT UK Women's Championships. Mandy Rose versus Meiko Satomura versus Blair Davenport. I think Blair's the pick here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do want Meiko to, be Meiko and be recognized, I think it's also Blair's time. Parang matagal na rin siyang in-incubate sa NXT UK. And I think this was the moment for her.
Yeah.
Before NXT UK closed.
No, before she got injured. I thought she was going to win from Meiko before she got injured.
Pala, from that crazy dive, yeah.
Yeah, from earlier this year. Blair Davenport actually has a legit claim to be in this match because in the final episode of NXT UK, she goes on to win a fatal 4-way to determine the number 1 contender. So I appreciate how at least naitahito dun sa last ever episode ng NXT UK.
Tsaka that B. Priestley investment has to pay off. Yep. They've hyped her up so much in NXT UK. And it has to pay off right now. Mandy Rose has held the title for so long. Meiko, no offense to her, is not the youngest of wrestlers. So I don't know how well it would bode for NXT to have her as the face of, hindi naman ako ageist, guys. Pero nagiging practical lang ako. So I think that Blair Davenport investment needs to pay off, and this is how they pay it off.
Yeah, I think Blair Davenport is the next face of the NXT women's division na for a while, medyo hinahanap rin natin ever since Raquel and Io and Dakota all graduated to the main roster. So I think it's only right na Blair Davenport is the heir to the throne, as she likes to call it.
Yeah.
All right, the main event, the unification match for the NXT and NXT UK championships, Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate. I want Tyler Bate to win here.
Yeah, ako rin, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Ako din.
Marcel.
They're really high on Braun, pero I guess it depends. It depends kasi on who Shawn Michaels favors. Like, it's not really Triple H's call as much anymore, I think. Pero if it was, then I guess he'd put, ideally, he would put Tyler Bate as the winner here. Pero people really love Braun Breaker, and it wouldn't be surprising if siya yung nanalo.
Yeah, I don't see Tyler Bate being the face of all NXT. Remember, this is for all the NXTs in the world. Diba? This is for the NXT multiverse.
Isa lang naman yung NXT ngayon at this point.
Well, yeah, kasi nasubsume na siya. Kinain na siya nung US NXT. But I don't see Tyler Bate being the face of all of that right now. While he is good, I still say Braun walks away with the title.
Hear me out here. What if Tyler Bate wins para siya nga yung face of NXT as NXT Europe launches by 2023?
I don't know. I don't think that has to do with NXT Europe. I think the plan pa rin is to build NXT. Why would you sacrifice NXT stateside or yung ano, diba? Just to build up something that isn't even here, anywhere close to being here yet. So I think they're gonna put Braun Breaker over pa rin kasi he is the face of US NXT. It still is.
So, sabi din ni Ro, they have an entire quarter to worry about that. I guess premature na yung closing ng NXT UK. But if they really did want somebody to be the face of NXT UK, then they have an entire 3 months to decide kung sino yung tao na yun.
All right. So there. Those are our predictions, our thoughts on this week's NXT 2.0. And what we think will go down on NXT Worlds Collide that is happening Monday, madaling araw, Philippine time, mga 4 a.m. On the WWE Network. So go catch that. In the meantime, if you want to let us know what you think, your thoughts, your reactions, it is at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and TikTok. Individually, it is at Chino Supersized, at Roiswar, and at _StanC.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.